My theory is that it's not a ram air that I've made, more an available cold air. My theory is that if you're riding along and any so anything down here is dirty because of the wheel, and anything getting up higher is dirty because the person in front of you's wheel or the car's wheel. So you want to get your air as high as possible, and then whatever hits this radiator here is going to bounce off and go over. So what I've done is I have the side covers here that sort of come out to their shrouds, come out to there anyway. So I made this plastic, I made it out of cardboard, I cut it all out and it's all shaped, goes around there. That's just the expanded mesh metal from down there, and just wrapped around the bolts that hold the radiator on, and then a cable tie to hold on. That's one of the way it holds in places, also holds in place in other places, and that's just not going anywhere. But so I really wanted to separate the radiator from the air I was trying to capture. So this here, there's no way that those two airs are getting confused. If anything, and that gets an air dam in there, it'll blow out the sides, maybe minimal will go over the top, but it's nothing like it was before. That's the top of the radiator, so whatever's coming along, if it doesn't go through the radiator, it's bouncing and going in here, and that's what we wanted to avoid. I didn't want any hot air. Hot air has never done anything for horsepower. So there are a hole here for the air to go into the air cleaner there. It's really small, so I really want to funnel as much as possible. There is a little bit of secondary air, you can come up and go on the sides there, but really it's not a big area, so I wanted to capture as much as possible. Then once I've sort of forced it in there, I didn't want to trap it, and I built these shrouds on the sides here. I'll just go back a little bit so you can see them. They also then separate the air from the sides here, so whatever's going in the front there can't escape out the side here, which it normally would do. So that's trapped it in there and kept it in the air cleaner area. But it is a little bit open here, so I don't want to build up too much pressure, otherwise that changes the jetting too much. So what I've sort of done is capture cold air and then make it available, and if the motor didn't want to use it, it can escape, a bit like a bit of a wastegate. Got one of these on both sides. You can see more later on what I've done when I take the airbox cover off, I think, from memory. Also, I've really forgotten, there's another thing here that goes down there, and I've got a bit of tape over something there, so that used to do something. I really don't remember what it is. But I'll take it apart. I'll take the airbox lid off. I have to get to the power commander, I have to get to the vacuum gauge for the oiler, so I've got to get in there anyway. Taking the airbox lid off is not such a big deal. It's just got a sensor here. I haven't even worked out what that sensor is. I know I've done something here with a pollution thing. There's screws all the way around it. But to take them out, I find it easier if I have just one of those magnet sticks. One of these. Once you've taken off with the screwdriver, just pull them out with one of those and they come out easy enough. Yeah, it's been a while. This is the air filter that just sits in here. That normally just one screw and the air filter comes out and you can pull it apart and clean it. But now that I've got the airbox out, see, there's the air filter, the clean side, the dirty side, and then we'll get a good wash and a re-clean for this big trip. Then I come into here. I haven't been in here for a long time, so first thing is that's part of my performance package there, is I put new snorkels in there. Now, if you take these, just sort of go into the airbox, if you take them out all together and just put a big hole in there, it makes a real droning noise, like an induction noise, but not a very nice one. So I made these up. I think they're out of some kind of a hot water car radiator hose of some kind. But if you compare it to the standard ones, that's the standard ones. They would normally go in like that, and the difference is the standard ones fit inside mine, so you can see which one's going to let more air in. I will be taking this airbox out further so you can see how I've done the air in, the not ram air but the available air system. So that's all we're going to get it clean there. Then you got down to the secondary throttle body, so the air cleaner has to come off, even the injectors have to come off. Now these have to go back in again. I've taken them off, and I do need a little explanation of how they work. The mechanisms, there you go, it's still there. I did have that all apart and smoothened it out and did all sorts of things with that, but I'll pull them apart and do a better show with that. But anyway, it's not too bad. It's about as dirty as what I'd expect it to be. It's done 25,000 Ks or something like that. I think that just comes off of these 4 screws, and that whole thing will come off again. We'll have another look then. This is the other side of that cold air system. Remember how I showed you on the sides here? There was these bits of plastic. Well, when I made it, I just got some nice black plastic and made templates out of cardboard, heated it up, bent it to shape. As you can see, they're all bent to shape in there. That one's down that side. That one's down that side. It's a little bit dirty in there because it's hard to clean in there. But as you can see, there's not a lot of air. There's air to the sides, just that long slit above the radiator, and air to the side again. So the whole idea of this system is just that I get cold air that's not mixed with the radiator, and I keep it cold, and it goes in the airbox cold, and it's available. Like it forces in there, but it doesn't force in the airbox. If the airbox doesn't want it, it just goes around the side. So that's what that system is. Now this one here, that bolt there, underneath that bolt, I just blocked that off with a bolt. Underneath that bolt is a reed valve. And that reed valve sort of goes up in the tube and goes into this thing here, this little electronic solenoid, which is all blocked off because I just don't use that anymore. That goes from the solenoid into the airbox. And the idea is it's that air burn thing, you know, where on the back off, when the solenoid says yes you can do it, it sucks one-way valve, it sucks air into the exhaust and burns off all your gases, or completes the burning cycle. Now they always tell you, oh, it does not interfere with performance, but my thinking is if you've got a limited size exhaust and then you're getting more combustion going on inside the exhaust, that's expansion, that's a heat expansion, which is creating volume, and you don't want more volume in your exhaust, you want to get rid of the volume, so I blanked it off. This is where I have to work on the secondary throttle bodies. Now the primary ones, when you turn the throttle, see up here, turn the throttle, I turn the throttle, vroom, vroom, all good. But the secondary one, which is that bar across there, little lever here, I can sort of manually adjust it with that. Just get my fingers in there, push up on that, there you go, and that would how it would normally be, closed off like that, and then it would sort of work like that. And I'll put that back together. How I'm going to fit that thing back in there again is I'm going to have to shove something down those holes, just so in case I drop the screw I don't drop it in there. Put a bit of Loctite on the screw, screw the plate back in again, and then hopefully that all works. If it doesn't work, these have to come out again. I have taken them out before. It's a bit dirty in there, I just don't want to do it. I have taken it out before, but I smoothened everything out, so if there's any ridges I got rid of them all. So it's all been done, and it's just one of those things you don't want to keep going in there if you can help it. I have changed the spark plugs already, so they don't need to come out, they should be good. So I just get that together. I know I did a lot of cleaning up work here. There were all ridges here, which the ridges are gone now. There's all ridges down to the inlet manifold. There was ridges of the inlet manifold into the head. I haven't pulled the motor apart, but everything outside of that is fair game. So I'll see if I can get those in. See how much fun that is. This is the airbox mod that I did for the airbox snorkels. Now, remember I said this is a standard snorkel, which is on this side. And this is the snorkel that I made, which was just a bit of radiator hose. Cut a groove into it there with just, I don't know what I used, a grinder or something like that. Cut a groove so that it would fit in there and lock in just like that one. The standard ones have a groove cut in it like that. Remember I said my modification ones are bigger than the standard ones, but the standard ones can fit inside mine, so it just lets a lot more air in. Remember I said, and I'm just going to go on the other side, I shaped this to scoop a little bit so it just gets more of that air I'm after. That's a trumpet, that's probably better. Now inside, you can see the difference between that in between here is where the air cleaner is. This one here, when you look at the pattern on the air cleaner, which is right here, when I first pulled that apart, there we go. When I first time pulled this apart, there was dirt in this area right here, and this part of the air cleaner, all down there, was all clean. But since I've cleaned it with my snorkels in there, the dirt's evenly spread. So, which in my mind means that it's sucking through the whole lot as opposed to only just sucking one small area, because this just feeds one small area. So this is standard design, my design. Anyway, I've done it now. But remember, I did say when I tried it first and I took these out, it made a horrible droning induction noise. It was quite loud and quite unpleasant. So I experimented with these at different lengths. Once I got the bigger ones made, I experimented with longer, shorter, and got to about that length and that shape to get what I was after. So that just goes like that. So there's the difference, and you can see, as far as volume goes, which one's going to be sucking more and better air and be just as quiet as standard. So it worked. Just another one of those little things that makes a difference. This is the hose for the vacuum for the oil luber, the chain luber. I pulled it backwards and forwards, had a good inspection. There's no cracks. It goes down through here, goes along here, down through there, along here, and over into the chain oiler. So I've had a really good look at it. There's no cracks. It's not getting old. Just over here, just give it a wiggle. See there, I can have a good look at it, and I'm happy enough. I'll just leave it. It's for one of the vacuums for sinking the carburetor, the injector bodies, so that's good enough. Now I have a few options of how I put these in, and looking at these, you can see that's pretty smooth and clean on that side. Looking on this side, see that round marks there? Well, that would say to me, the screw's gone there. Then I have another look at it. See that round circle up there? So now I've got a choice. Does that round circle go down the bottom? Does that round circle go up the top? Definitely the screw side is on that side with the markings. Anyway, so I tried that one. And when I put the round circle that opens it like that, it didn't sort of open up properly. So I swapped it around, put the round circle on the top there. And now it works nicely. So I'll just hold this with the other hand. And that opens up or closes off completely. And there it goes like that. So that's the way around I'll do it. Now that one's got to come back out again, put some Loctite on it, and put it back in again. But that's basically what I'm up to. Now remember, how these work is that when you accelerate, remember these motors want to be lean. They're all about being lean and fuel economy and stuff like that. So when you give it a gut full of gas, when you go vroom, it says, oh no, that's too much. I'm not going to give you that much fuel. We want to try and run lean. So it closes itself off and says, I will open this up for you at a predetermined rate that's in my computer brain. So then it does that, overrides what you're doing and opens it up at its will. Well, by me getting rid of it, that's all good, except for when I open up that throttle and give it a gut full of air, it bogs down, just your typical lean out, just does that. So the way around that is just to get a power commander, set up your fuel pump so it has a accelerator pump in there, get that happening, so that now that when I go gut full of gas, it squirts fuel in there and fills that lean out hole with petrol, which is fantastic. You get instant jump and it goes and all that sort of stuff, but it's woeful on fuel economy, so that's another reason why I'm putting it back to standard. Anyway, so I know what I'm got to do now. I've just got to Loctite those in. This will go back, here we go, this will go back on there again, this way around. That'll go back on there again, and I can put the box back together. With the new cleaned up snorkels in there, I'll leave that thing there, I'll leave that like it is. I don't need to clean up in there, that's not that dirty considering. So I'll just put the whole lot back together. Both are put back in again. They've been in easy enough. Not too many mishaps. So she's all done. Now I might just turn the key on. I'll turn the key on, I'll see what happens, see if it does any sort of resetting or anything like that. Right. Well, after all this time, 8 years of just sitting there doing nothing, they still work. She's all good. I put the O2 sensor back in the bike. I'd take this bung I used to have in there, took the bung out, and this was just a little plug that you put in where the O2 sensor used to go, and it just sort of loops it around and turns the thing off. And basically it means that the motor feels like it's on all the time, like it's in a rich mode, which is better for performance.